Kelsey Waldon releases No Regular Dog, her first album for John Prine's Oh Boy label. We find Kelsey at home in Tennessee and talk about making the new record with Shooter Jennings in LA, her hometown of Monkey Brow, Kentucky, and what it means to be a regular dog.
I ain't no regular dog, more like a wolf on the kill, howling at and hiding in shadows run. Well, the title's talking about me. It's not actually about a dog, but it's more so. I love dogs. I have a dog. I have an Australian cattle dog actually, and she's my baby. But but no, it's more like playful language. When we were choosing the title for the album, Shooter Jennings and I were both like, this is obviously the title. I mean, and then after we tracked that song, we were both just like, yeah, this is definitely the title. I just feel like it's everything. It's playful, it's fun, it's kind of like makes you think of like, it's scrappy, it's kind of like a junkyard dog, but it's also like I said, kind of playful. I feel like if I was in a record store and I was looking through vinyl and I saw an album that was titled that, I'd probably be like, that sounds pretty cool.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, but well, the song, itself is wrote it at a time we were hitting it so hard on the road. It's really about like testing yourself and wanting it so bad, but also questioning yourself whether or not you can pull through with what you signed up for, and that kind of thing. And man, because it's a lot of hard work, and I've been on the road for a lot of years, and but it turned out to be, I wrote that kind of before the pandemic, and then I wrote the other half of the record after that, kind of during the pandemic. So I realized as a theme that started becoming, kind of a theme throughout the whole album. Just right. It's not really supposed to be cocky by any means, but but also like, maybe a little bit. I just kind of hope that other people can see that in themselves too. It's like, I won't be put down so easy, and then right. Kind of coming out on the other side of all these hard times, and just, cool. keeping going, keep on trucking. So
exactly. So you got Shooter Jennings producing. You recorded it in out west in California, rather than Nashville. So for you as the artist and working in a different environment and all that, how did that affect what we hear on the record, do you think?
Sure. Well, I think the record is still definitely 100% me. Especially working with Shooter, he never, he's not that kind of producer, I would say, that by any means that is like, you're now going to sound like I don't think like he put his sound.
He's not Daniel Lanois.
No, and I love Daniel Lanois, but that's a totally different thing. But I think really, Shooter probably saw, and we talked about it a lot before we made the record, and we were so excited. I think he just saw that his job was clearly to like, help elevate like my vision and the sound and what I wanted to do. I mean, that's basically kind of what I wanted to do was, grab all these elements that I love, and especially from country music, and like everything, my big beautiful picture in my mind that is country music, and really make it a song album too. And I'm not saying all my albums, obviously I wrote all the songs on them, but I really feel like this one is like, I don't know, just really feels like a song album, and I feel like it was mixed that way. And, right. Really just like, Trina Shoemaker mixed it, and I really think she helped elevate it too. And it does sound like an LA record, honestly, in a lot of ways, but it still very much sounds like me. So I don't know. I really think we kind of caught a cool vibe, and I just, and that's what making records is all about, kind of just catching that, that lightning in a bottle, and just trying to trying to create a feeling, and I feel like we definitely did that. And I know this is a long answer, but I was going to say,
right. Let her rip.
yeah. Well, yeah. Normally journalists love that I talk longer than just not. But yeah. Well, to try to answer your question about going out to LA, I loved that. I just a lot of my favorite records were made in Nashville and also made in Memphis, but also, made in LA. I have a lot of records that I love, and country records,
right.
honestly, that were made in Los Angeles. There's still a lot of history. And
yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to be in a completely different environment. I mean, to be honest, I've made records back home, and I've made records in Nashville, and I just wanted to take the band and kind of hole up and do that kind of out west.
Right. Well, it's funny because you talk about the vibe. The vibe I got right off the bat with the first track with No Regular Dog was kind of a Bobby Gentry kind of feel. And then I'm thinking, as you're talking to me, I'm thinking, well, she probably recorded that out in LA, even though obviously she's in Chickasaw County and all that. But
right. Well, that was it's funny. I realized that she'd actually, I guess, grown up in California, but I guess she was born in Chickasaw County. Yeah. But yeah, those records, I think they were. Don't quote me on that. I mean, there's some records that Buddy Emmons, one of my favorite pedal steel players. He moved out to LA at a time, kind of when Nashville kind of pushed him away.
Yep.
And he played on a bunch of just like Ray Charles records out in LA, and there's just so much stuff that Glenn Campbell, obviously.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, so that was definitely No Regular Dog. The track was definitely in my head. That was a very cinematic. I wanted it to be kind of like, it was like Glenn Campbell, Bobby Gentry.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. They did make a few records together, didn't they?
They did, yeah. That one.
Some good ones.
For sure.
Excellent. Now there's a tune called Sweet Little Girl, which I think I read is inspired by real events, and you've got some nice fiddle playing on there. What can you tell me about that track?
Foggy lights blurring my mind down a smoky interstate. Watch the big trucks fly. Burn so bright with a neon glow, count every line, and just let it all go.
Yeah, Aubrey Richmond from Shooter's band played fiddle.
Oh yeah,
and which was really cool to collaborate there. The tracks were played by my band with a mixture of also Shooter's guys and some LA guys like Herb Peterson from kind of like the Desert Rose Band and stuff. He played banjo on a lot of stuff. But of course it's inspired. I mean, I everything I do is I don't know. I think every great writer probably does that. And I'm not saying I'm great, but I wrote the song. I wrote the song kind of from an outside. It started as an outside perspective, and I wanted. I mean, it was a simple idea. It's just a girl that lost her way and is trying to find her way back home. Whatever that home is, and either in her heart or in her head or actual home. Whatever. And I started. Obviously, I wanted to leave it kind of in a way where anyone could get what they needed out of it, out of the song. I mean, it's kind of open-ended, really. And that's why maybe the vague, the details about her are vague, but I started realizing, when I was continuing on with this idea that I was pulling a lot of, my feelings and my personal experiences, and my struggles with addiction myself and substance abuse, but also like just understanding, just kind of like all that like rage and like things that go on inside you. I mean, the song's about self-destruction, right? I mean, but then like redemption in the end. I mean, it's I'm just trying to tell that story. But it's also kind of a little bit of a bop. So,
there you go.
it's kind of a dark jam. in a way. Then I love singing it, and my friends Kashana and Nikki and Maureen, they sing backup on it, and it's just their background vocals on it just ended up being incredible. So,
and they're also on Seasons Ending, aren't they? Which is
yes, yeah,
the John Prine related tune, since you're on his label now, and sadly he's no longer with us. He seems to be bigger now than he ever was. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Ever since you went away, it feels like seasons ending. And ain't it just like you to bloom and be gone? The spring can't last all year, and the flowers will soon be fading. Lay your worries down, for tomorrow may never come.
Yeah, well, yeah, which is pretty incredible. That just goes to show that songs become the fabric of people's lives, and they can live for a very, very long time. And I was listening to John, when I was very young. I mean, I started listening to John when I was probably like 16 years old. And so to become, friends with him later on in my life and kind of have him as a mentor was pretty special. I was clearly very aware of how cool that was,
Right.
And I never took a second of it for granted. And I was the first artist signed to Oh Boy, I think in 13 years it was. And Oh Boy is trucking along. And, Oh Boy ain't going nowhere for lack of better words. But yeah, Seasons Ending. That was the first song I wrote after John's death. I couldn't write for a really long time. I was just, honestly very, very depressed. Like a lot of people that I knew, was, and, I don't know, I just woke up one day and I was like, okay, I finally have something to say about this, I think. And, it just kind of poured out of me. So.
Yep. And so for you, is there, the way the album is laid out, the track listing, did you spend a lot of time over that? Was there a lot of thought put into that as well? Or
Yes. I'm such a details person, almost to a fault. So I've had to watch that about myself. But I don't know. It's a fine balance of being detail oriented with also just like not letting details get in the way, I feel like. Right. So, but yeah, Shooter and I definitely, we all had our opinions, and then finally, him and I came together, and we were kind of texted, the options, and then we decided on this one, and I totally agreed. Honestly, his track listing and my track listing was pretty much basically like the same.
Oh, go.
Like, and we didn't even, we didn't even know. So yeah, we're on the same wavelength. But yeah, for sure. It of course it got thought about. I mean, I'm pretty old school when it comes to that. I don't know. I still love to listen to records, like beginning to end. I know we live in a singles world, but still trying to tell that story. So.
All righty. And now, I have to ask you, and I apologize in advance, because I grew up in a tiny little town in Pennsylvania, in Western Pennsylvania, but you were born in some place called Monkey's Eyebrow, Kentucky. So, I was trying to look it up and just see what it was all about. Couldn't even find like a listing of its population anywhere. So,
Yeah, well, it's, in Kentucky, it's not really a town. It's more like they call it an unincorporated community. It's
right.
It's more like just the name of like just a spot in the county that, I mean, obviously I wasn't, when I was born in the hospital in Paducah, Kentucky, but
well, now you're going places.
I was raised in Monkey's Eyebrow. And Paducah was still probably like 40 minutes, away from, I mean, that was where like the Walmart and stuff like that was, I still lived pretty far away from anything, but it's Yeah, a lot of people ask me about it. It's okay. And, I feel like it's like John. He'll never live down, being from Paradise, or his grandparents from Paradise. But honestly, Monkey's Eyebrow is not the weirdest name in Kentucky, believe it or not. But I just I've always just embraced it. Back home, we always thought it was funny, but we never really thought much of it. I feel like it's only become kind of like a funny thing to like other people,
Right.
But just because we were always just like, yeah, like
that's where you live.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, in Pennsylvania, there's an Intercourse, Pennsylvania. So there you go.
I know. We've been through it. I've been to the gas station. Yeah. Yeah. I've been to the Intercourse gas station, and they had all the like, little shot glasses.
Oh my God.
All that stuff. But yeah, it's I just embrace it as like, just a colorful thing, just character. I mean, I really feel like music, especially country music these days, it's missing so much character and soul, and I don't know, I just kind of embrace it as part of of that.
So I am assuming you must have gotten, like big radio station coverage and, late night AM radio. What was your first kind of musical experience growing up in Monkey Eyebrow?
Monkey's Eyebrow?
Yeah.
Well, the town, I could also say I was from Barlow, Kentucky, and that would also be appropriate because that's where my granny lived. And, it's all in the same county. I'm from Ballard County. Yep. Kentucky. In Kentucky, we go by counties usually, but yeah, I think I mean, I feel like there was always music. My mom and dad didn't play. It kind of skipped a generation. I mean, they liked music, but really my granny and my great grandmother, they played. My whole mom's side of the family played music, and my granny actually wrote songs, and my great grandmother, she played guitar. She could thumb pick guitar and stuff. Right. And I actually have a just amazing photo of her up here on my shelf. I mean, right. It's just and it's incredible, because I knew my great grandmother until I was I think she passed away. I was a senior in high school, so a lot of people don't know their great grandparents.
That's true.
And they grew up in the Great Depression and stuff, Western Kentucky, and had a lot of stories. And
I'll bet, yeah.
Yeah, and I had a lady that kept me and my little sister, and she was the music leader in her little country church, and she taught me how to play piano at a really young age. And then I don't know, to be honest, I started playing guitar. I was probably like 13 or 14, and I remember I heard like the Free Will and Bob Dylan, and I heard like the Beatles, and I was raised on. I mean, there was always country and bluegrass, but I feel like I kind of came back around to that and realized how special that really was. The more mature I got, obviously, right. But like when I heard the Beatles, that's really what made me want to play guitar, to be honest.
Of course, there you go.
Yeah, and then I realized, I was like, oh damn, all this country is very, very cool.
Yep.
But and I know a lot of people have that same story, but those were, and I used to sing at my first concert was Patty Loveless and Vince Gill.
Nice.
1994. And I loved Patty Loveless when I was little, and I still love her. And I used to sing at the county fair and at church and stuff like that. And I took voice lessons and stuff like that. So I was like in, talent shows and stuff. But yeah, I started really, really playing and writing when I was probably like 13. So. But I'm always thinking about big picture. Always. I mean, it's and always thinking about what type of energy I want to bring, I think, into this world now, as we kind of navigate it post pandemic,
Post everything.
Post everything. Yeah. So I thought about that a lot, and I know it's weird, but at least I hope music can be. At least the music can be, hopefully, like a light or something,
Yep. Absolutely. Well, okay. Thank you very much for taking time talking to me.
Yeah.
Talking to everybody. It's fantastic. Getting the word out there. So, and I'm going to be in Nashville in September. They have this Americana Fest thing. Do you know anything about that?
I do. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, good. I don't know if I'm playing anything at it this year, but I will be around for sure. For sure. I'll be around hanging out. So
excellent. Well, hopefully we'll run into each other. But in the meantime, have a great, fantastic.
Thanks so much, Marty. I appreciate it.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.